Okay. Good evening to everybody. Thank you very much to being with us, to Annabelle that worked with us, and to Michael, Alijewicz. Sorry for the mispronunciation. And he is responsible for the Association Alumni of ISEP. And tonight we are discussing and we are talking about this association and this project that is not very well known in Europe as Erasmus, but is a very, very important project for students at university. So I let you speak about this this wonderful project, and this is the reason why I did ask you, because very long time I was one of the students that had the possibility to study in at university in the US, and it was a great opportunity and very interesting project. So Michael, can you talk about or explain to us, to all the students that are interested maybe to apply to this project, let's say about this project?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me here, Deborah. It's nice to meet you, Annabelle, and hi, everybody. As Deborah said, my name is Michael Alijewicz. You can email me anytime if you have questions. I'll put my email in the chat, or you can, it'll be in the notes somewhere, I hope.
Yeah. Afterwards, yes, of course.
If you have questions, specific questions about what ISEP is, Deborah, as she said, is an alumni of ISEP. So she studied using the ISEP exchange in the late 90s, I believe, or early 90s.
Thank you very much for saying late 90s, but it was 1994. Okay. And it was in Illinois in a wonderful university called Carbondale.
So yeah, as she mentioned, Deborah mentioned Erasmus. For many European students, ISEP is not that different from Erasmus. It just is not well known, and it goes to very different places. So ISEP is it's a member organization for student exchange, primarily for college-age students all over the world. We work in 55 countries. We have around 350 member universities. So you can see a membership list if you like. I'll link it in the notes. If you attend an ISEP university, it's quite possible that you can study abroad at any school in our exchange network for your home tuition, which is very similar to Erasmus, except we also go to the US, we go to South Korea, we go to Australia, New Zealand, a lot of places where you may want to study at a lot of universities with specialties that you may not be able to engage fully at your home university. In the past, we've also tried to offer exchange or direct enrollment programs to any student. We do not currently offer that, but if your university is not an ISEP member and you're interested in pursuing that, you can definitely have them contact me, or I'll put them in touch with another ISEP staff. So as I said, our core mission is student exchange, usually for semester or year programs. As I mentioned, it's mostly for undergraduates, but we also have graduate programs, which are pretty popular for students from Europe, actually. So for example, we may have a master's postgraduate from France take a year's worth of coursework at a US university. And that would be no charge. They would be paying their home tuition, and they would be enrolled in courses just as if they were attending that US university. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I ask you some? Just underline something. Many people, maybe they think that they have to be in a private university, at a private university, but it's not the case, because I was in Pavia University, and it's not at all private. So I had my own home tuition, and I had the possibility to go to Carbondale. So just to be sure that it's not just for private, but even to public university. That is an important information, I think.
Good. That's a very good point, Deborah. Yeah, that is something that we have to be clear to European students about, but it's also true for students from all over the world, whether you attend a public or private institution. If your school is an ISEP member, you can study on the exchange program anywhere in the ISEP network. Depending on which school you go to, it may be a competitive process and you may have to apply. Particularly, I believe the German member universities, it's a pretty competitive process. But for other universities, it may not be as competitive, and it might also depend on where you would like to study on exchange. And then in addition to those year-long or semester-long exchange programs, we also have short-term or summer programs, some of which are on exchange, some of which would be direct enrollment, which means you would pay a fee. So for a complete list of programs, you can go to ISEP's website, or you can contact a staff member, and you can always email me. I'm happy to connect you to anybody. If you are an ISEP member student, there will be someone at your university who you can speak to about the program. They're called an ISEP coordinator.
Okay, just want to say something because I did have some Italian student interested in join this project, and unfortunately, I have to say not many people are well supported. So if they ever listen to this video or they would like to have more information, they can contact us, because I know that is a difficult to get all the information that let's say it's not like the Erasmus. The Erasmus, they have a lot of information. As today, many of the Italian students I know, they did apply to go to Erasmus, and the process is a bit longer. So they have an information that they have to apply. They have to have some information about. They have to have a certification of English or whatever language they are going to. And can you tell us what do you need? Because as I said, in 1994, it was not so difficult. We had just a small interview, easy to understand if your English was good enough to go, and that was it. I think now is a more structured project.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. So there's typically two major deadlines. One is currently March 1st for the exchange priority exchange deadline, and for that deadline, you'll need to create an account at isep.com, and then you'll be connected with your local coordinator who can help facilitate that, and then you'll also be able to contact ISEP staff. But Deborah is correct. It depends which school you want to study at, and it depends what program you want to study on. But there typically will be some sort of language requirement. Which specific test you'll need to do, it will depend again on the program and which university you're studying at. TESOL, TESOL is very common, but it's also possible that other testing may be available for ISEP students. If you're interested in the complete list, you probably would need to contact a staff member because it would be very unique to your situation. And then in addition to those things, you'll also need to go through your university's internal application process, which is different for each individual member university. The ISEP application itself, you pick 5 schools that you want to study at, and then you'll pick program and courses at those schools. And then when we process the application, there's a matching process. So it's kind of complicated to imagine, but it's basically like a student wants to come in, a student wants to go out, right? Essentially, that's what it boils down to. So we have to do that through the whole network. But if it matches, you'll get your first choice. If not, you get your second choice, and then so on and so forth.
Okay. So Michael, sorry, just to be precise, more precise and clear for everyone, because not everyone, for example, me, I didn't know about this program either. So a student that is studying currently at any university in Europe, to be able to come to you and study with a college that they are choosing, what they need to do is, first of all, go to their university and then register for that program and then contact you, or how it's going to work out?
So if I'll put it in the chat, but if you are attending an ISEP, if you're attending,
let's say I want to do this program, what I need to do step by step.
Correct. Okay, so step one, look at this list of member universities that I've put in the chat. If you're attending one of those member universities, you have a staff member at your university that you can go contact, and that should be step one. Okay. If you're not attending one of those universities, you should reach out to a staff member at ISEP. It is possible that your university could join ISEP, and then you would have access to that same exchange network that I mentioned earlier.
All right. Okay.
So step two, after speaking to your local staff member at your member university, then you would start an account at ISEP, and then you could start speaking to ISEP staff members about your plans. So they would help you navigate which program would fit your needs the best. So your academic discipline, a specific location in the US or anywhere in the world that you want to study at, financial considerations. So you keep your home university if you study on exchange, but there's also potentially cost of living. Can you afford to go study in New York or California, or would you prefer to go to a different US state? Would you prefer to have specific program additions? So do you want to add a trip or whatever? There's all different kinds of things that can be dependent on your goals, your needs, and where you want to study on your ISEP program.
Okay, and then can I just ask you one more question? For example, let's say I'm registering, so everything is done. We choose the university and everything. I go for, regarding the visa process, is going to be like ISEP supporting the student on that. And in case the visa is getting refused, how it's going to work out? Because maybe there can be also that case.
I do not work in enrollment services, but yes, ISEP will walk you through the visa process and the immigration process for whatever country you're going from or to. If you meet the requirements, I don't think we've ever had a student's visa rejected for an ISEP.
Okay, that is important to say, because sometimes in other countries, because for example, in other countries, students can get visa refused, like for example, I don't know, let's say UK or anything like that.
Yes.
Not only Italians, but
correct. Okay. Yeah. Yes. But we would not let you complete the application if your visa was going to be rejected. We would make sure that
So you're supporting the student on that, not that too. Okay.
Correct. We handle immigration issues for applications, and we process them with the U.S. government or potentially with other governments, depending on which program you want to study on.
Okay. All right.
And how many students do you have, if you have a number annually, how many students from Europe is? It depends on the year, of course, I understand. I don't think you did have many students in the last few years, but let's say before and hopefully in the future.
Yeah. So Europe was one of the few places that was able to send students actually during COVID. Not always to the US, but students were going to Korea, for example. That was a pretty common thing. But in any given year, probably nearly 1,000 from Europe total. Some schools, like you mentioned, Northern Italy, Sacra Cuore, for example, if you attend Sacra Cuore, that's a very in-demand location for incoming students, which means they're able to send quite a few outbound on exchange. So they'll send a lot more students wherever they want to study on the exchange programs.
Oh, okay, perfect. Just another question, because one of the questions from the students that I was supporting to go in through ISEP, the request was, how can I be sure, because this was the main issue, that I can take some exam in the university where I'm going to and go back and get my recognized exam that I did. My personal answer, I did the same when I went to US and then I went back. Unfortunately, sometimes happens that they say, yes, no problem, you come back and your exam will be recognized. And for me, it was my last exam and it was not. So I had to take another time. So it took me another 6 months. That was not the best. But when somebody is asking me, okay, is an exchange, but what you get is not even if you lose 6 months of your life, it's not losing, you are gaining something. So this this is my answer to them. So I can understand you want to get back and not going to the same exam or similar exam that you did in US or in Canada. So what is your suggestion? I mean, this is my point.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very common question. So that happens a lot more rarely than it used to, Deborah. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. Yeah. So as you could imagine, because we have so many potential programs, we don't always have guaranteed credit, because it's quite possible that a student from your university has never taken that course at that institution and tried to get credit for it at their home institution.
Yeah.
However, ISEP strives very hard to maintain academic standards in its membership. So that means typically if an ISEP institution is a member, then they're very likely to receive reciprocal approval for their exams, as you stated, or we call them transcripts too. So you're likely to get course credit for your work. We're also working on several specific supports for this process. So it's possible you can get a syllabus or contact a professor before your program begins to facilitate that process. But we also, if there is a situation where for whatever reason your home university won't give you course credit for your time abroad, you can get School of Record credit from the University of Minnesota. We have that option available for any ISEP student. You can always get credit from the University of Minnesota for your ISEP program. That may not help you at your home university, but you can on your, you will receive a transcript from an American university with that credit, in addition to wherever you studied, which having two options makes it more likely that it's going to transfer to your home institution. But the third thing is we're working on something called a curriculum database, and we're trying to gather as many syllabi as possible from our member institutions with equivalencies that are mapped back to a broad array of countries and academic equivalencies. So for the UK, for the EU, for Japan, for Korea, you can look at this course.
My God.
Okay, we lost it.
Course and see specific academic discipline. So we have a small database right now, but we're working to make that bigger. And that all those options are going to help you. It does happen for specific courses, I will say, but it's not very frequent. And we hope nobody would have to take another 6 months of class.
No, but that was because I think it's a long time ago. So this was the main reason. I think now it's much more structured than before. Sorry, I want to ask you again what you said before, but I want to underline for the students who maybe that are listening to this interview. You said that usually the people that can apply ISEP usually are in this, let's say, group of universities that are already linked to ISEP. But something very important that we can suggest, we can underline to students that maybe listen to this is, even if they are not in this number of universities already linked to ISEP, they can even go to their university from, I don't know, from Spain, from Italy, from France, from whatever. And they can say that they would like to join ISEP, so they can try to become an ISEP student through their university. Correct?
Yes, that's correct. It sometimes is quick, sometimes it's slow, but it is a possibility that you should explore. If this would be the only way for you to study abroad, I would encourage you to reach out to me, because the sooner you start the process, the more likely it is. It depends on a lot of factors, but yeah, I'm happy to help push that process forward. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us about the range? Could be longer or short? let's say it could be like, I don't know, 6 months, 1 year?
Yeah. So on the, I mean, it could happen faster. It's rare, but yeah, 6 months or a year is probably as fast as it's going to be.
And which office, I mean, which department is the one that they have to contact? Because this is something maybe interesting.
It's going to depend on your university. You have to
okay. So, but
speak
maybe
to you
the
about that.
external
Some universities
relations
will have
or marketing, or
yes, it could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's going to depend on your university. So I would encourage you to reach out to me, and I can help you figure that out.
Okay. Another question about if they pay the same, let's say it's a private university, they will pay the university in their country and they can come to a university. But, and don't you get, I mean, you have an exchange, so the student coming from the US going to another, this doesn't have to pay. I mean, it's like an agreement that you have with the other university. Okay.
Correct. Yes. And although some universities may not like it, it always includes housing. So, yeah, it's tuition and housing is included in the exchange.
That's good. Something interesting to know.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I didn't remember that, but I'm sure I did that. So I was in a residence at the university, and I didn't pay anything apart of the flight and the visa and stuff like that. So the life. I mean, if I was going to the weekend to, I don't know, to Chicago, I was paying by myself. That's it. But
yes.
I had all paid. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. There may be yes. The big ones would be visa, travel. Those are the big expenses. Yeah.
Okay. So you said that the 1st of March is the, let's say, the deadline, and it's because the departing is going to be in September, correct?
Correct. That's also the deadline for summer programs, though. We don't have very many summer exchange programs, but we do have them. So it'd be March 1st for summer, and then yes, for what North American fall is what we would call it, but in the Southern Hemisphere it would be.
So Michael, any inquiry that we can get, we are gonna get now, we can just get those forward to next year. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, because now today is 8th of March. Okay. And regarding the summer camps, how that work? Because you mentioned.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
You mentioned the summer program. How those programs work? Like, can you just explain a little bit more about it? Like, what is exactly what they can do? How long?
Yeah, so they are so it depends. The summer exchange programs, we don't have very many of them, but they are typically full semester programs. So it's essentially as if you were taking a full semester in the summer. There are shorter term programs available on exchange, but typically European students don't take advantage of those. It's more often that US students are doing them.
Yeah. And I do remember that you have in the web page the possibility to have a volunteering, but as I remember, you can do a volunteering just if you are part of the, let's say, the net of ISEP. You cannot be volunteering with.
Correct. Yeah, we're currently exploring potential partnerships with volunteer organizations. Where we might suggest you participate with them, even if you're not an ISEP student, but we don't have anything finalized at this time. But yes, we do have volunteer and service learning opportunities. Some of our more popular programs for that would be in Ghana. Okay. We have a very established, it's been there for 20 years. In Accra, it's attached to the University of Ghana. So you can take courses and do service learning and sometimes get credit for that, depending on what the project is. But we have a pretty broad array of service learning and volunteering options wherever you want to study.
Okay. That's interesting. And do you have any other question, Annabelle? I have some questions.
Just one more question that I want to ask. Like, which mixed nationality you got? Like, for example, most of the students from which country are they coming? Yeah,
that's a good question. So about half our member universities are in the US. So about like half our students are from the US. And the vast majority of our international students want to go to the US. And they're probably mostly from UK, France, Germany, Italy, and then Korea, Japan, and then when it's not COVID, Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you still have, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, those are just percentage numbers. We do send a lot of students, for example, from like Spain or where else in Europe?
France, maybe.
France. Yeah, I mentioned France. Yeah, France, Germany.
It's mainly Europe anyway. That was like, it's mainly Europe.
Europe is typically our top 5. Sometimes Korea or Brazil might be high, or Mexico, but for now, Europe is
the
Sorry, one question about Korea, but do they have to speak, I mean, they have to speak English, I suppose?
Usually, yes. Unless they're very advanced in Korean. We do have Korean language options, but yeah, most of our Korean programs are in English. Yes.
Okay. Do you have many students coming from the UK to exchange? Yeah.
Yes, and inter-European UK exchange is more popular than it used to be. So we send more students to and from the UK and the EU than we used to in the past, because the UK is leaving the Erasmus system.
Oh, yeah. No, it's leaving. It's done.
They're gone. Yeah.
It's gone completely.
We started sending them even before they had completely left.
Yeah. No, and I think many UK students are interested on having this experience abroad, and because Erasmus is not possible anymore for them, they are very interested on that.
And if any UK students are watching, a lot of our member universities have Turing funding for you. So they've already secured money to send you on exchange. If you're interested, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to your home coordinator.
Okay, so afterward we can I can put on the YouTube channel like a presentation about what are the connection, because I think now all the websites are very, very full of information, but the problem is to find the right information to the right time and all the things. So maybe I will make a presentation to see what are the deadlines, when is has to be the application, when. And another question, you said that it's the 1st of March if you want to leave in September, but can you do later and go?
Yes.
So,
and that will be typically September 15th. It changes year to year, but September 15th is our traditional priority deadline for exchange. And that is
for March.
It's for the spring, but it could also be for, we call it carryover, but it would be a full year. So you could do a full year that starts in the spring as well.
Okay. So you can start from March to March, or let's say April, whatever. Okay. So, and so the most important 2 deadlines are the 1st of March or the 15th of September, depends on the year.
Correct. Yes. And the application is in English. I did want to emphasize that. We've tried to add applications in Spanish and German, but it's a lot of work. But you do not need to be fluent necessarily. So I don't want you to get discouraged if you're not completely fluent in English. The application can be complicated, but our staff will help you if you need help.
Okay, perfect. So I think I have a question, because the student that she was trying to get to the interview, but she's not yet. So she was asking about do they need any certification, like in Erasmus? They need to have like I don't know, how do you say the certificate? The what is IELTS? So they do need the IELTS to get. And she asked me if they need the IELTS, the minimum, I don't know, 5.5 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah, there are minimums. It depends on. It's not always IELTS, first of all, but okay. There are academic and language requirements for specific programs. But like I said, because you have so many options, it's hard to give a general answer to this.
Yeah,
it's going to be specific to your situation.
Yeah, so it depends. Okay, the important thing.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, do they have to have do they have to apply have an interview after or not?
No, not usually. They may need for the visa process possibly, but they for Europeans it's very rare that they check their language if they have the test or requirement. Yeah.
Okay. Annabelle, do you?
Sorry. No, Michael, what I was going to ask, where students can see like the requirements, because you said obviously depends on which course they are going to. There are different academic requirements, but where we can direct them or where we can go and check the academic requirements.
Yeah, I'll put a link. It's you can hold on, let me put it in the chat right now, but you can put your home institution and then you can choose a specific program and then it will tell you the requirements for you. Or it may tell you, please contact a staff member to find out what the requirements are. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you did this, Deborah. It is a nice opportunity for Europeans that a lot of students they're not aware of it, or they don't plan ahead enough to apply for it. It does require some planning, but it's definitely a wonderful opportunity, and we would love more students to take advantage of it.
I think ISEP is a very good opportunity, and is a very different way of Erasmus is good. It's a wonderful project, but I think ISEP is something different because you go in another country. Because Erasmus is linked to Europe, and Europe now they are traveling everywhere in Europe. So let's say before COVID, but everybody was having maybe going to Amsterdam, Paris, London. But America, US, or other countries that are so far away, when you get to this, you will see a different life, a completely different way of approaching the life, the students. I had both. I went to ISEP and I went to Erasmus. And I have to say what I got at the end, both of them are wonderful project. And I will support everybody who's doing this, both. But ISEP, when I got back to Italy, I found I went to another place. I don't know. US was completely another way of living, thinking. And what I did find in US, I did learn to try, even if you are not. I mean, in Italy, you are a bit more. Now, I'm not asking this question because it's not good enough. In US, I found this. It's not so difficult to ask a question, even if it's not the most intelligent one. So that was something that I got when I went back to Italy. I was really happy that I did have this opportunity because my mind changed for that experience. This is what
that's so wonderful to hear, and that's it's written into our mission. If you look at our website, cultural learning, cultural exchange, it's why we do this. So
so thank you very much for this interview, and I hope I will have some request or question, and I will contact you, or even if they want to contact us through Help Culture, we can just link to you, and so they can ask whatever they need. And I will I will make a presentation and put on the YouTube channel so they can see all the connection, all the contact that they can use to go ahead. And even from my point of view, if I was a student and my university was not in the let's say in the group of ISEP university, I will try to do that if I'm on time, because if you are on the first year, maybe it's good for you to go to the third one. But if you are already at the end, I think it's too late. But they can try.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. So thank you very much, Michael and Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope to have any important news that new student coming to ISEP.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.